You get what you wanted. The job, the money, the relationship, the upgrade, the win. And for a second, it feels like peace has finally arrived. You tell yourself this is the moment you were waiting for. The moment when things will finally slow down. The moment when your mind will stop reaching. But then something strange happens. The feeling fades. Not slowly. Not politely. Just quietly enough that you almost miss it. And suddenly your mind is already scanning for the next thing. Not because you are broken. Not because you are ungrateful. But because your brain was built to move forward, not to stay satisfied. For most of human history, that was useful. If your ancestors found food and stopped searching, they died later. If they felt safe and stopped paying attention, they became easy prey. If they reached a goal and lost hunger for the next one, they lost their edge. So the human brain learned something very effective. It learned how to keep wanting. Back then, wanting more kept you alive. Today, it keeps you restless. Because the world changed much faster than the brain did. We live in a world where there is always another level, another target, another comparison, another reason to feel behind. And your mind notices all of it. A better car. A better body. A better house. A better salary. A better relationship. A better version of yourself. The list never ends because the system is designed to keep the finish line moving. You do not just want the thing. You want the feeling you believe the thing will give you. Peace. Respect. Safety. Status. Love. Freedom. And that feeling keeps moving just a little farther away every time you get close. That is why success can feel so temporary. You work for months, maybe years, to reach something. Then you get it. And for a brief moment, it feels huge. You feel proud. You feel relieved. You feel like this time, maybe this time, the wanting will finally stop. But it does not. Because the mind does something very strange. The moment something becomes yours, it starts becoming normal. This is called adaptation, and it is one of the quietest forces shaping human life. What once felt impossible becomes expected. What once felt exciting becomes routine. What once felt like a dream becomes just another part of your day. And once that happens, the brain stops celebrating it. It moves on. Not because the thing was worthless, but because the brain is not built to stay in one emotional place for long. It is built to keep scanning, keep comparing, keep pushing. That is useful when you are surviving. It is painful when you are trying to feel complete. This is why so many people keep chasing a life they thought would finally make them feel done. They think the next achievement will be the one. The next milestone. The next paycheck. The next relationship. The next purchase. The next version of themselves. But completion is a moving target. The closer you get, the more it shifts. And the more you chase it, the more normal the chase becomes. Soon you are not even asking whether you are happy. You are just asking what comes next. That is how the wanting grows. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. One step at a time. One comparison at a time. One small disappointment at a time. And then one day, you look around and realize you have built a life around a promise that satisfaction never meant to keep. That sounds harsh, but it is not a failure of character. It is a feature of the human mind. Ambition and peace do not come from the same place. Ambition says keep going. Peace says you are allowed to stop. Ambition builds. Peace restores. Ambition is the engine. Peace is the brake. You need both. But when desire takes over completely, you stop using ambition as a tool and start treating it like a reason to live. And that is where people begin to feel empty, even while they are winning. Because the hunger itself has no finish line. It can help you build a life. But it can also quietly consume the life you built. The ancient brain inside you still treats life like a survival problem. It still reacts as if more means safer. More money means safer. More attention means safer. More status means safer. More control means safer. More wins means safer. And sometimes, in a dangerous world, that was true. But in modern life, more does not always create safety. Sometimes it creates pressure. Sometimes it creates anxiety. Sometimes it creates the feeling that no matter how much you have, it will never be enough to make you feel secure for long. That is why even people with everything can feel uneasy. They reach one mountain and immediately see another. They solve one problem and instantly notice the next. They achieve one goal and begin fearing its loss. The mind does not like stillness. It does not like emptiness. It does not like the silence after success, because in that silence, it has to face a hard truth. The thing it wanted was never the final answer. It was just the next step. And maybe that is the part people never fully understand. Humans do not only want objects or achievements. We want relief from the feeling of wanting. We want the end of the chase. We want the moment when the mind finally says enough. But for most people, that moment does not come from getting more. It comes from understanding the machinery behind the wanting. Because once you see how it works, you stop treating every desire like a command. You start seeing the difference between chasing something and choosing it. You start noticing how often your mind confuses movement with meaning. And you begin to understand that a life full of wanting is not automatically a bad life. But a life ruled by wanting can become a very expensive one. Not just in money. In time. In attention. In peace. In the ability to enjoy what is already here. So maybe the real question is not why humans want more. Maybe the real question is why we believe that wanting less would make us less alive. Because wanting itself was never the enemy. It was how we survived. The enemy is forgetting that survival and satisfaction are not the same thing. One kept our ancestors moving. The other is what modern life keeps promising, but rarely delivers on its own. And once you see that, the world starts to look different. You still want things. That does not change. But now you can ask a better question. Do I actually want this? Or do I just want the feeling I imagine it will give me? That question changes everything. If this hits something real, subscribe for more videos like this. And comment one thing you once thought would make you feel complete.